On the recent parliamentary elections that took place in Lebanon on May 6th, pretty much the results, for the most part, were expected. For example, the bloc that includes Hezbollah and their other Shiite allies, the Amal movement led by Nabi Berri, the Speaker of the House, garnered pretty much more or less the same amount of seats that they had previously in their main strongholds of Baalbek in the northern Bekaa Valley and throughout southern Lebanon. In fact, Hezbollah, if anything, lost a seat in the Byblos area, where there's a small Shiite community living within a larger Christian community. As for the other groupings, well, Hezbollah's main Christian allies, the Free Patriotic Movement, actually lost some seats, led initially formed by Michel Aoun, who's now president, and now led by his son-in-law, Jubran Bassil. Hariri's future movement lost some seats as well, but the fiercely anti-Hezbollah Lebanese forces led by Samir Jaja actually made some impressive gains. So all in all, we can say that there is a kind of a Lebanese-style checks and balances here. And the idea that after the elections, Hezbollah is basically in full control of Lebanon is neither accurate nor true. It's too simplistic, and in fact, in a sense, it's an exaggeration that can be the source of obfuscation in terms of understanding the true picture of Lebanon and its many nuances. Now, as far as the recent clashes between Israel and Iran in Syria, well, yes, they are worrying. And the problem there is that human error or some kind of miscalculation or overreach can always result in a spiral towards catastrophe. And I'm talking basically about some form of runaway escalation that can get out of hand. That is always a possibility. But that said, my sense is that neither Israel nor Iran are looking for a wider or larger conflict at this point. And given that, and given, if you like, the US-Russian ceiling on how much the Syrian situation can continue to deteriorate and affect its surroundings, I think for now, at least, the region is spared a major conflagration between Israel and Iran. The other interesting, noteworthy observation is that Hezbollah in Lebanon have kept out of any direct engagement with Israel. This has been the case for a long time, ever since the end of the summer 2006 war. And in fact, today, the Lebanon-Israel border has never been quieter. And although some Hezbollah members might be involved in activities inside Syria, alongside the regime forces and the Iranians, Hezbollah has considerably scaled down its involvement in Syria over the last several weeks and months. And that, too, is part of the internal agreement in Lebanon of what is known as distancing Lebanon from other Arab arenas and other inter-Arab conflicts. And so Hezbollah, to some extent, has abided or has been abiding by that. So I don't see any imminent breakdown of the deterrence equation that seems to be quite robust at this point between Hezbollah and Israel in South Lebanon.